and actually we're extremely proud of this, is once we can't control sometimes how much things are going to cost, but we can control how we manage those things. And these are two examples of the CNG fueling facility and operations facility where we were excited to have less than 2.15% of change orders on the CNG facility and less than 1% of change orders on the ops facility. So we were extremely proud of how those projects were managed. They're in the stages of being closed out. And many of you have seen these facilities, and I think they're a testament of what Sunline is doing in investing in its infrastructure. Next slide. And in many cases, this board is asked to approve certain funds, and we wanted to illustrate that in many cases, we are collecting funds for our overall project, so it may be phased out. Like, for instance, the land purchase, phase 1 is the land acquisition itself. That funding from the LCTOP funding source allows us to accumulate 4 years of funding before we expend it on the project. So we wanted to illustrate one with the land acquisition. There's some phase fundings, and you may see that in the table in the short-range transit plan. And then with our intelligent transportation system, we have phasing where we're starting with the radios and looking forward to phase 2 with some of the more pronounced ITS systems like the CAD AVL and the computer-aided dispatch that the agency utilizes. Next slide. In our mission to deliver these projects, in many cases, this board has seen us come and ask for approval of technical assistance, Zen being one of our partners. We have illustrated to this body that we've asked for a consultant to help us to manage the LCF credits, where we receive revenue from that, approximately $600,000 of revenue. We have enlisted a firm to help us with competitive grant writing because there's a lot of money out there and we don't want to miss out on any opportunities. And legislative services to help navigate some of these policy-making bodies and make sure that Sunline's in line to receive the funding that we need to sustain its programs. And then we utilize one of the items at this meeting has to do with helping us to provide public works projects. We utilize a couple of technical service folks as needed to help us to oversee some of the public works projects because some of the work is very specific and exceeds the knowledge base of Sunline staff. Next slide. One of the things that we wanted to share with this board is the future, some of the things that we're putting in for that will have lasting effects on the effectiveness of our operations. We put in 2 low-no grants. Low-no are the federal grants that were made available in this grant submission. We put in for 2 projects, electric buses, which is consistent with our rollout plan that was approved by CARB in this body, and then a liquid hydrogen station and fuel cell buses. So those items were included in the grant request. And then we put in a bus facilities grant for the solo microgrid, which is the next phase of our land acquisition. We plan on utilizing both our existing space and future space to bring in enough solar to discount the price of fuel for the agency and produce more green hydrogen. Next slide.
See, that's a lie right there. That's a straight lie. They're trying to add solar because this new pump that they put in Thousand Palms is not capable of fueling all these hydrogen buses. That's why they're trying to cover it up and try to add these solar structures to try to produce more power so they can, that millions of dollars that were wasted on this facility to help it be able to fulfill the fueling of all these buses.
And we've been working through some of the consultants that were identified on the previous chart to work with Congressman DRRUIZ's office and Senator Padilla's.
What about Rudy LaFleur? How much does he make an hour? 250 plus an hour? He's a consultant also. He has been for many years.
Seeking appropriations for public fueling station and our microgrid project. And so those are outstanding and working their way through the process. And I think the feedback we got has been very encouraging so far. And then we are working with CalSTART and CalSTA on an over-the-road coach project. And that project is novel in the industry because it will bring about a commuter bus that we help to influence and design, which is in Sunline's best interest. And so that's something that we've been in discussion.
A commuter link. The commuter link's been running for years. Cattle cars, commuter links, but they never talk about going to the east end of the valley, like El Centro, maybe Red Earth Casino, and connect to Imperial Transit. They've been talking about, oh, well, that's next. What about the east end of the valley?
With CalSTA as recently as last week, and we're excited about that project also. Next slide. And with that, if anyone has any questions, I'd be glad to entertain those.
Thank you, Mr. LaFleur, for your presentation. Very nice. I think we forget how much really goes on and how much you guys are doing there, Lauren. Hats off to you and your team for a great year. Any questions of Mr. LaFleur?
Bowling.
Everybody?
What a great bowling.
Don't see anybody out there, so thank you, Mr. LaFleur, for the update, and we'll look forward to a presentation in the future on some more of the completions and on some of the grants. So thank you very much. With that, we'll move on to item number 5, which is the finalization of the agenda. We don't have any changes, staff. Is there anything, Mr. Hernandez, that needs to be changed, or are we good to go?
No changes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. With that, we'll move on to item number 6 now, which is the approval of the minutes from May 25th, 2022 from a joint meeting. Any discussion, or would somebody like to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve, Rancho Mirage.
Second, Supervisor Perez.
Okay, Supervisor Perez, and please let the record reflect that Supervisor Perez has joined us here. And we have a first by Rancho Mirage, second by Supervisor Perez. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And anybody oppose or abstain? Okay, thank you. Passes unanimously. Move on now to item number 7, which is public comments for non-agenda items. I'm going to turn this over to our counsel, Mr. Vail. Mr. Vail, would you like to take over, sir?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. We do know that there are public comments on the agenda today. I'm going to read the instructions for the speakers, and then I will turn it over to the clerk of the board to present those speakers. And in one case, there will be a letter that's going to be read into the record. Members of the public may address the board regarding any item within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. However, no action may be taken on off-agenda items. Comments shall be limited to matters not listed on the agenda. Members of the public may comment on any matter listed on the agenda at the time that the board considers that particular matter subsequent in the agenda. Comments of all types will be limited to 3 minutes. With that, I will turn it over to the clerk of the board, and we can now go through your public comments.
Thank you, Mr. Vail. As you mentioned, we did receive one request via email in advance to speak on non-agenda items from Mr. Anthony Garcia. We have also received one written comment from Mr. Uriel Gonzalez, which I will read into the record once we have heard comments from those who have requested to speak. But before changing Zoom controls for Mr. Garcia, I'd like to pause and see if there's anyone else listening on the attendee side that would like to provide additional public comment. Please press star 9 to raise your hand or use the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen. Again, please press star 9 or use the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen so that I may add you to the queue. And Mr. Vail, there's no one else indicating that they wish to speak at this time. I will go ahead and change Zoom controls for Mr. Anthony Garcia.
Very good. And clerk, you'll run the timer. Excellent.
Mr. Garcia, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Good afternoon, board and staff. My name is Anthony Garcia, a driver of 26 years here at Sunline Transit, till we were put on administrative leave, exercising our rights. Labor Code 232.5, Labor Code 6310, and freedom of speech. Our rights have been violated by LARENSKIVER. LARENSKIVER has hurt, bullied, and created a hostile workplace for many employees, former and ex-employees with gag orders. Ask the board members to start doing your job and have known how Lauren do your job, knowing how Lauren treats their employees, her employees, and you do nothing. Maybe when a lawsuit is done to sue the board and a class action lawsuit, you will feel the pain. As so many have, that's why we've started J&A Exposing on YouTube for LARENSKIVER to be brought down, and a new leader needs to take over, and you will see the change of people wanting to work here at Sunline. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia, for your comments.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak, Edith?
Is there anyone else on the attendee side that would like to provide additional public comment before I read the written comment? And there's no one indicating that they wish to speak. I will now read Mr. Gonzalez's comment as it was submitted to the clerk's office. Hello, good morning, board members. I am not able to attend this morning due to operating a route at this time. I come here today to mention what me and other operators have been disputing for a long term and many different problems Sunline Transit has among its operators. We have been advocating and mentioning to you, board members, the unfair splits, bad schedules, bad buses breaking down, putting in risk operators and the passengers' lives due to the FC buses breaking down and steering wheel getting stiff when driving. Due to these situations, we voted down contract and we're still waiting on a better contract response. We ask to see actions, not words. Sunline does not appreciate their staff nor its cities. Without us, our valley would not have transportation. We create Sunline. Our community relays on us. We are their transportation and they are the ones suffering as well because of them waiting for the bus in the heat for hours since there are no buses, no drivers, and no actions are being taken. Sunline needs to take care of their current operators. Short of staff is occurring since no one is willing to work and others are leaving due to other companies because of the same reasons we have been mentioning. It is not fair for us operators to be at work for 50 hours per week and only getting paid for 40 hours. We spend more time working than resting. Sunline exhausts its operators. We have a family and other responsibilities in our personal life to take care of, and Sunline provides us with extra stress we don't need. Sunline tends to only mention and show the beauty in public figures because it suits them, when in reality it is an unfair agency and above all, not appreciated with its drivers. All we ask for is a better working environment. Hopefully we receive an answer by taking actions. I don't want to speak and get ignored. And that concludes the written comment, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. With that, if there's no one else wishes to speak, we'll move on from the public comments. If you could take 30 seconds.
And Mr. Chair, there is someone that has indicated that they wish to speak, and that is Ms. Valerie Dis. I will go ahead and change Zoom controls.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Valerie, and I attended the last board meeting, and I was discussing our SALT policy. Hopefully I'll get some kind of answer today, since it's been a month, about our assault policy that we have at hand right now. I just wanted to give you an update of what's been going on since our delay and our buses breaking down, as the other operators have been addressing. And the thing is, when we're going out of service on these routes that get created right now with the splits in hand, we shut down the line that's basically operating in the morning. So say it'll shut down like at 10. I was doing one that shuts down at 10 at Town Center, that's at the mall. And you have to tell the people that are riding that particular line that you're out of service. So that tends to put us in harm's way with our passengers, because it's hot now, and they'll have to wait maybe like an hour, 20 minutes. Some of them are just an hour wait, but that's still a very long time to wait in these desert temperatures. So we're asking that the planning department sits down with our shop steward and some volunteers from operations, as far as drivers, that we can figure out how to deal with these routes and have them where they can operate and serve the public better than they're serving now. The line 7, that's La Quinta, they're waiting an hour and 20 minutes for a bus. Only one bus is running that whole entire La Quinta. And we've had numerous complaints, and of course the passengers complain to us, but we don't have any power to change the route, and we let them know. So this is, I really can't get into all the route problems that we have in this little bit of time, but I'm just trying to address the situations that we are having in this small period of time here. So hope you guys have a great day, and I thank you for allowing me to speak on the concerns we're having at Sunline Transit.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Dis. Edith, is there anybody else that wishes to speak at this time before we close public comments?
If there's anyone else that wishes to speak, please raise your hand so I may add you to the queue. And Mr. Chair, there's no one else indicating that they wish to speak.
Thank you. Then we'll close public comments, move on to item number 8 now, which is the board member comments, starting from Cathedral City and working our way down to the County of Riverside. Is there anybody that would like to make a comment on anything as a board member?
No, thank you, Chair.
Okay, Ms. Rowe. Okay. Anyone else? Coachella, anybody? Okay. Then we'll move on from item number 8, move on to item number 9 now, which is the consent calendar, items number 9A through 9M. Is there anybody that has anything they'd like to pull or see, or would somebody like to make a motion?
Mr. Chair, before moving forward, we did have Mr. Anthony Garcia indicate that he wanted to provide public comment on items 9B and 9D.
Okay.
Sure, those will be combined into one public comment session of 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, does he look
Mr.
mad?
Garcia? Mr. Garcia, can you unmute yourself?
I just want to know what $50,000 is being spent of taxpayers' money on those and that independent contractor. As a taxpayer, I want to know what that $50,000 check. There's nothing that I could see that shows $50,000. It's church now and the analytics. I know we have a lot of independent contractors that are there that we know nothing about. So that's all of my question.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Garcia. Is that it? Is that all?
That is it, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Mr. Vale? Is it something we'll get back to with a look in, or is just as is?
That is a question we can refer to the CEO and have available for you by email or at your next meeting.
Thank you very much. With that, we have items 9A through 9M. Is there anybody else that would like to pull anything or discuss any of them? If not, can we get a motion?
Move approval of consent calendar.
Thank you. First by La Quinta, City of La Quinta. Do we have a second?
Second, Desert Hot Springs.
Desert Hot Springs. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody oppose or abstain? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. We'll move on to item number 10 now, which is the adoption of the fiscal year 23 operating and capital budget. Mr. Betts, I take it that your finance committee is handling this?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, thank you. The Finance and Audit Committee reviewed this item. Obviously, it's way more detailed than I can get into. I don't know if the full board would like any presentation, but I'm sure our financial controller, Luis Garcia, would be happy to do that. We voted unanimously to approve, and I would so move.
Motion by the Finance Committee of Mr. Betts. Is there any comments? I know we've gone over the budget quite a bit, and Mr. Garcia is here to help us. Is there anybody who would like to speak on this item?
For purposes of discussion, Indian Wells seconds the motion.
Okay, we didn't need a first and a second, but all this, and so all those in favor then, if there's no more comments, say aye.
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 Does anybody oppose or abstain on item 10? Okay, passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Betts. We'll move on to item number 11 now, which is resolution number 0797 to adopt and authorize and execute of Sunline Transit Agency Retirement Income Plan for Teamsters, Local 1932. Mr. Betts, this is in your wheelhouse again.
Yes, Mr. Chair, the Finance and Audit Committee reviewed this item and unanimously approved it. There are some significant details that we heard during the committee meeting, which if you would like Luis Garcia to present those, I think it's some good news, something that we all need to hear. So I'd ask that he make a brief presentation on this.
Okay, Mr. Betts, you are the chairman of the Finance Committee. That's your wishes. Then we will move forward. Mr. Garcia, please.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. In accordance with the new bargaining unit with the Teamsters and the MOU, which was adopted by the board in March, staff is recommending